Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fraser Field as the Babe Ruth State term is underway. 13-year-olds played a game before this. They beat Marblehead, so they're 1-0. The 14-year-olds will try to do the same thing. There's three different age brackets, 13, 14, and 15. 15s are playing in Medford tonight. 13s and 14s are playing here. Louis De Silva on the mound for Lynn. Will Entner, the first baseman for Andover. They had to make a trip down here for this one, Andover. Is the hitter. Down and in for a ball. In for a strike. 1-1. Missing inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Swing and a miss. Boy, they're playing everybody like everybody's going to go to right field. Left fielder is out in left center field. Swing and a miss for strike 3. One up, one down in the first. Luke Orgoniziak. Try to say that 5 times fast. I don't know if I'm saying it right now. He's the third baseman. Throws right, bats left. Swing and a miss. De Silva can bring it. Quickly, 2 strikes. Very quickly, 2 strikeouts, both swinging. 2 up, 2 down. Morgan Beck, the pitcher, is the hitter. Now again, for some reason, they move the fields like it's a left-handed hitter. Everybody. If he hits the ball over the third baseman's head, he can run forever. Third baseman way off the bag, shortstop over near the second base. Left field is almost in center field. Right field is way over by the line. I guess they think they can't get around. That one sails up by everybody to the backstop, hit the backstop on the fly. I'm guessing Leon Elwell, the coach, doesn't think they can get around on De Silva. Slices it foul down in that grassy knoll behind first base. It's amazing, the weather. And now they move him even further. The left fielder is actually playing center field. There is nobody in left field. The shortstop is to the right of second base. The only person on the left side of the infield is the third baseman. I've never even seen this shift in the major leagues. But the weather, 2 days ago we were dying from the heat. It was 100. Now it's 60 or less. It is freezing here at Fraser Field. Deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Didn't miss by much. Down and away. Lynn fans thought that was a strike. On a miserable night like this, there's a few people here. I think even Andover brought a few. Beck draws a walk. The shortstop, Sean Philcoin, is the hitter. Now they shift everybody back. High for a ball. Low for a ball. 2-0. Alex Lara is the other half of the battery. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss again, and we got deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Started, held up, stepped off. Way high for a ball. So the runner at first will be off. Automatic hit and run, 3-2. 2 outs. And he had him out in front. He loses him. So after a quick 2 strikeout start, he's walked 2 in a row. Sean Estabrook, the right fielder. I wonder if he's related to the Lynn Estabrooks. Leo Estabrook, very good player. Good pitch for a strike. Again, the right fielder was about 10 steps off the right field line. Center fielder was over towards right center. Left fielder was way off the line in left field. Two quick strikes. Estabrook is saying, why me? You walk 2 in a row now. You throw 2 straight strikes to me. Strike 3 called. So he strikes out 3 in the inning. He also walked 2. We'll move into the bottom half of the first for Lynn. It'll be Louis De Silva, the pitcher, leading off. Alex Lara, the catcher, will bat second. Batting third and playing right field, Josh Doney. Matt Lewis, the third baseman, hits cleanup. Batting fifth, Jario Benson, the extra hitter. The shortstop, Christian Figueroa, will hit sixth. Playing first and batting seventh, Rich Avery. The left fielder, Anzi Barris, will hit number 8. batting ninth, and playing center field, Gilly Calver. And Jaden Driscoll, the second baseman, will hit number 10. And that's the difference. The extra hitter is an extra hitter, not hitting for somebody, but 10 hitters. You don't have to use it. Like Andover is not using 10 hitters, they're only using 9. But Lynn is using 10. Morgan Beck on the mound for Andover. So it'll be pitcher against pitcher. De Silva will lead off for Lynn as they get a chance to get on the board first. Against Morgan Beck on the mound for Andover. Andover people have been here quite a bit the last couple of weeks. The Andover coach coached the Aganis All-Star game, and then that same coach came back because they played English in the state tournament. And now Andover is taking on Lynn in the 14-year-old Babe Ruth program. De Silva throws right, bats left. Lynn trying to make it a sweep, as I mentioned. The 13-year-olds knocked off Marblehead 4-1 in the opener here at Frazier Field. That pitch was behind. De Silva had a duck toward home plate to get out of the way of that. Down and in for a ball. Up and in. 3-0 on the count. In for a strike, taking all the way as you would expect. Popped up. Beck, the pitcher, makes the call and makes the catch. 1 up, 1 down.
Number 1,
Alex Laurel, the catcher, is the hitter. So it's Alex Lara. Beck falling behind twice. He come back and got the first hitter. He doesn't get the second as Lara draws a walk. George Doney, the right fielder. His brother was the catcher in the first game and made a great play throwing a runner out. It wasn't so much he threw the runner out. That's a huge jump at first, and he steals second base. He got a walking lead, and he was on his way as the pitcher was never even looked at him. But Tony's brother in the first game, to run it just like that, got a huge jump off the bag. And he still threw him out. It was a great play. And 2 years ago, Josh and his brother combined to lead Lynn to the win in the Gallant tournament in Salem. So he fell behind 2-0. Now he comes back and evens the count 2-2. So a runner in scoring position on the walk and the stolen base. Beck steps off, trying to keep the runner at second close. The runner takes off, and the ball's fouled. He got a big jump. He might have stolen third. Count stays 2-2. Hit to third. He didn't make the play. The runner from second to third ran right at him. He could have stopped and tagged the runner going to third. Instead, he threw Tony out at first base. The runner, I don't know if he thought there were 2 outs. He took off to third on the ground ball. Third baseman had the ball, had plenty of time to just turn and tag him. But he wound up throwing the ball to first. He threw Tony out for the second out, but Lara reaches third for Matt Lewis, the third baseman. Way wide. Nice job by the catcher McCoy to go way to his right to get that one. That would have put Lynn on top 1-0 if that goes by. Hit foul to the backstop. That hangs up and in. Chopped foul. Peck stepped off again as he was ready. Lewis stepped out. Now both are ready again. Hit in the air to right field. Coming on, had it and dropped it. Get to the ball nicely, had it, and just dropped it. And Lara will score the run. So a gift for Lynn here at the bottom of the first. That was the third out.
Number 13, Gabriel Benson.
Right fielder made a nice move, got to the ball, was right there, had it, and just dropped it. Lewis steals second base. This is Jariel Benzon, the extra hitter. Wide for a ball. In for a strike. Swing and a miss. That bounces off the catcher. That'll put the runner to third. Miserable weather. And the Brave fans are sitting out watching this. And that's ball 4. First and third for Christian Figueroa. The runner just took off. They let him go. He was on his way. So it's second and third. Figueroa is the shortstop. High for a ball. High again for a ball. Foul tip held onto by the catcher. And that's ball 4. Third walk in the inning, and all of this could have been avoided. The fly ball was dropped in the outfield. And we'll have discussions all over the place. They come out to talk to Beck on the mound. Richie Avery will be the hitter. Richie is a 14-year-old, was the starting first baseman for Lynn Tech. So the bases are loaded. In for a strike. Lynn has a run in. They have the bases loaded, and they don't have a hit. 2 quick strikes to Avery. The 0-2 pitch. Popped up, it's going to drop for a hit. 2 runs they're going to score. Avery comes up with a big 2-out hit. Went the other way with it, just dropped it over the shortstop's head in front of the left fielder. And Lynn has jumped out to a 3-0 lead, and all of this because of the ball being dropped in the outfield. It would have been 3 outs, no runs. That's the first hit they got, a big 2-out hit by Avery. Out at second base, the second baseman. The shortstop bobbled it. Second baseman picked it up and stepped on the bag. So they sent 8 to the plate. 3 of them score. They only got the one hit. It was a big 2-out hit by Avery, but that drop fly ball really cost him. It would have been the third out. It would be 0-0. Instead, it extended the inning. They got a run on that drop pop, and then Avery's hit brings in 2, and it's Lynn 3. Andover nothing at the end of 1 inning. Justin Molina, the second baseman, will lead it off for Andover as we start the second inning. Allen bounces to the backstop. Pitching low for a ball. Swing and a miss. Hit into right field for a base hit. Just beyond the reach of the second baseman, Jaden Driscoll. So Molina gets the first hit for Andover. It'll bring up Phil McCoy, the catcher.
Number 7, Phil McCoy.
He gets the bunt down. Nice play by the third baseman. Matt Lewis was charging. As soon as he shortened up, Lewis was breaking to home plate.
Number 18, Cole Edwards.
Perfect sacrifice by McCoy. Cole Edwards, the left fielder, will be the hitter. The left fielder is playing a deep shortstop. Now they go back to that shift. Swing and a miss. In for a strike, 0-2. Missing inside for a ball. Dances out of the way of that one, too. Edwards draws a walk. Luis Arias, the center fielder, is the hitter.
Luis Arias.
Hitting from the left side. 2-1. 1 out. In for a strike. Swing and a miss. Swinging strike 3. 2 away.
Number 6, Will Etner.
Will Entner, the first baseman, led off the game, striking out. Swing and a miss. We got a little confab going out on the mound. Lynn leading at 3-0 here, and this is the 14-year-olds version of the Babe Ruth tournament. Starts here with the states. We'll go to the regionals, the New Englands, then it will go to the nationals. He threw it down to first. They almost had a shot at him. Just got back. Low for a ball. That one goes to the backstop. That'll move the runners up to second and third. Two outs, 2 on. Lynn leading at 3-0 here in the top of the second inning. In for a strike. The weather is just being a pain in the neck. It's cold and there's just enough of a little like mist. It's not raining hard, but there's enough of a mist. You can look up in the lights and see it floating by. So he gets his second strikeout in the inning. He's got 2 in each of the first 2 innings. He gets out of trouble. The hit and the walk and the wild pitch gets stranded at second and third. Nine, 10, and 1 for Lynn. Gilly Calva, Jaden Driscoll, Louis De Silva. They'll be the three hitters. Morgan Beck will start his second inning. He gave up 3 in the first inning, but they're unearned. That fly ball drop would have been the third out. Instead, the runner reached. And then back-to-back walks after that. And then the big 2-out hit by Richie Avery.
Number 8, Gilbert Gallo.
In for a strike. It's Gilly Galva with a G, not with a C. He's the center fielder for Lynn. Popped up. And it's going to go out of play. Popped up again. Behind the plate. Good effort by the catcher. He didn't see it initially. Then he tried to go back. He lost his balance. Good effort by McCoy. Hey. Swing and a miss. First strikeout for Beck.
Number 3, Jaden Driscoll.
Jaden Driscoll, the second baseman. Down and away for a ball. Little inside out swing. He line shot. Foul down the first base side. Right back to the pitcher. He almost threw it away, and he almost got the first baseman killed. Held on, ran a long way towards first base, threw it to the foul line in front of the bag. Driscoll almost ran over the first baseman, Entner, and he waited a long time to make the throw. De Silva popped to the pitcher his first trip, and he tried to golf that one. That was down in the turf. He tried to golf it, swung and missed. Quickly 0-2. Hit in the air. It drops for a base hit. Second baseman going back. Center fielder coming on, fell between them. So a 2-out single keeps the inning alive for Alex Lara. Lara walked and scored the first run of the game. Lara is the catcher for Lynn. Back steps off, trying to keep the runner close. He takes off and easily steals second base, goes in standing up. That's the fourth stolen base, and we're only in the second inning. Hit the first base. Nice hop for the first baseman. Right there at the bag. Takes care of the third out. So Lynn gets a runner in scoring position, but it's stranded at second base. At the end of 2, Lynn holding on to that 3-0 lead over Andover. We'll start at the top of the third inning. Luke Orgonesiak, the third baseman. You think my job is easy trying to pronounce these names? He struck out swinging his one trip. De Silva starting his third inning of work. He tried to bunt and missed it. Two quick strikes. That one goes to the backstop. 1-2 the count. Tries to bunt again and misses it for strike 3. So De Silva started 2 of the 3 innings with a swinging strikeout. Morgan Beck, the pitcher, walked his one trip. And they have that shift on again. Late swing. Outfield is really shallow. That one hangs up and in. Good pitch on the corner for a strike. 1-2 the count. Lined in the center field for a base hit. Solid shot by Beck. Up the middle. Sean Philcoin, the shortstop, drew a walk his first trip.
Number 9, Sean Killian.
With that little bit of a mist floating around, the balls are getting wet. They got a towel wipe down the balls, trying to keep them dry. The runner takes off. The ball's almost hitting my lap. Hit just above us. The The runner takes off again, swing and a miss. In with a stolen base. So they've had runners in scoring position every inning, but they haven't been able to come up with a big base hit as yet. Good pitch right down the middle for strike three. He struck out the side in the first. He's got 2 in each of the next 2 innings. 7 strikeouts in 8 outs. The other one was the bunt that they threw out at first base to sacrifice. In for a strike. Sean Estabrook, the right fielder, was called out on strikes. Good pitch on the corner for a strike. Quickly 0-2. The runner takes off into third base with a stolen base. Got a good pitch to run. The pitch was way inside. Lauer didn't really have a chance for a play at third. Woke up the Lynn dugout with that. He hit a line shot that hit just over the dugout, right the very top part of the dugout, and bounced right back on the field. Scattered the people in the Lynn dugout. Gave him something to think about. Count stays 1-2. Strike 3 call. He strikes out the side for the second time. 8 strikeouts out of 9 outs. They get a runner as far as third base, and that's it. Eight strikeouts in 3 innings. Lynn holds on to that 3-0 lead. We'll move into the bottom half of the third. It'll be 3, 4, and 5. For Lynn. This is the startup of the Babe Ruth annual state tournament. Games being played all over the place in 3 different age groups, 13, 14, and 15. Lynn always does extremely well in these tournaments. I think it wasn't that long ago they won everything and went to the Nationals. We mentioned it. The 13s got off to a good start. They won their first game here against Marblehead. So they move on at 1-0. These 14-year-olds trying to do the same thing. I just found out that the 15-year-olds were supposed to play Medford at Medford, and for the second night in a row, Medford canceled out, so they don't know when they're going to get to play. Josh Downey grounded out, third to first. His one trip. I said Downey. Josh Dewey, the right fielder, grounded out third to first. In for a strike. Morgan Beck starting his third inning of work. Michigan side for a ball. Again, the left fielder playing a deep shortstop. He's not very far out in the outfield. The 1-2 pitch misses outside. The 2-2 pitch up and coming. Way wide for a ball. Yeah, that's ball 4. Dewey draws a walk. Fourth walk given up by Beck. Matt Lewis, he was the hitter that hit the fly ball to right field. Easy pickings. Right fielder came on, caught it, dropped it. Would have been the third out. Line right back to the pitcher, and they turn a double play. Nice job by Beck helping himself. Dewey had to get off the bag at first. He was on his way. And they turned the double play. But that fly ball was dropped. Would have been the third out. No run scored. Instead, a run scored on the play from third base. A couple of more walks. And then Richie Avery got a big 2-out single to knock in 2 runs. And that made it 3-0. And that's where we are here in the bottom of the third inning. Way wide for a ball. This is Jario Benzon, the extra hit. He walked and scored a run. Swing and a miss. They'll throw him out at first for the third out. So even with the walk, Beck only faces 3 hitters. Lynn is down in the third. We've completed 3. That 3-run first inning is the difference. Lynn 3, Andover nothing at the end of 3. De Silva will start his 4th inning, and he'll face Justin Molina, who has one of the 2 hits that De Silva has given up. He led off the second inning with a single, got as far as third base, and got stranded there. And again, they swing everybody around to the right side as he fouls it back out of play. Again, virtually no left field. The left field is way over in left center field. Now he's moving way over to center field. Shortstop is almost behind second base. That one hangs inside. Swing and a miss. Down and in for a ball. Down and away for a ball. Chop to third. Long throw across the diamond. Nice play by Lewis, the third baseman. If that goes by him, there was nobody out in left field. He got to it. He was almost behind third base when he made the play. And he made the long throw across the diamond. And they get Molina for the first out. Phil McCoy has been up officially. He bunted and sacrificed, moving a runner over. High for a ball. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss again. 1-2. Strikeout beat goes on for De Silva. 9 strikeouts he's got. And again, they leave that shift on. That one off to catch it to the backstop. Cole Edwards, the left fielder, drew a walk. Low for a ball. Low again for a ball. In for a strike. Working very quickly. He lost his hat. That's happened a couple of times to both pitchers. Fouling it off. Way to De Silva wanted that one. Edwards walks for the second time. Luis Arias is the hitter. I'm not sure the Andover coach is talking to the plate umpire about something. I don't know if they're going to put a pinch runner in. Zitnik is going to run at first base for Edwards. Arias was a strikeout victim his first at bat. Swings and misses at the first pitch. Now they pull the switch on for the left-hand hitters. They moved everybody to the right side. Low and away for a ball. High and away for a ball. Throw down at first. Getting back is Zitnik. Hit that foul off the catcher. It almost sounded like the bat hit the catcher. Looking for some baseballs that are not wet. That mist has been floating through most of the night. We got through the first game without any. Just started to appear as we started the second game. Popped up. Out of play. Way up and in. And he lost his hat again. And that's ball 4. They throw it down a second, but it was ball 4. So they got 2 quick outs, back-to-back walks. They did this in the first inning. 2 quick strikeouts and then back-to-back walks. They get out of the inning. Will Entner, the first baseman, has struck out swinging twice. Off the catcher. They didn't. By the time they realized it went off the catcher, went behind him, it was too late for the runners to go. Now, Leon Elwell wants to go out, have a conversation with the troops, and Andover will have a conversation with their offense, base runners and hitter. We're in the top of the 4th inning. This is the 14-year-old Babe Ruth All-Star game. Lynn leading Andover 3-0. Got 3 runs in the first inning, all unearned. Andover's been trying to make a comeback. They've got runs at first and second. They only have 2 hits. But they've had base runners in scoring position every inning. But haven't been able to come up with that big hit. Chopped foul off the catcher. almost every time the ball's hit, they have to put a new ball in play. It's that wet down here. The turf holds the water pretty good. Chop to the mound. De Silva will handle it over to Avery. So they threaten again with 2 on. But they can't come up with a big hit. We're halfway through the ball game. That's the first inning that De Silva hasn't got at least 2 strikeouts. He got 1. He's got 9 through 4 innings. And we'll move into the bottom half of the 4th. It'll be 6, 7, and 8 for Lynn with a 3-0 lead over Andover, which shows that we're looking for a sweep. The 13-year-olds won their game here prior to this against Marblehead. These are games the tournament will be here. And we mentioned Medford, a couple of other places. They'll be playing games, the 3 divisions. Different places, different times. They'll be back here Monday for a doubleheader. They've got to get it all in. They can't use this weekend because it's a holiday weekend. I think the Navigators are home anyway. So they have to get it in and schedule it around the Navigator games. Christian Figueroa threw a walk back in the first inning. And that was a big walk. It was with 2 outs, extended the inning, and Richie Avery, who's on deck, came up with a big hit. And now, great try by the shortstop. Phil Coyne went way to his left, speared that going into center field, and from down on the turf still tried to throw him out, but Figueroa has the base hit, leading off the inning. It's only the 3rd hit for Lynn. Richie Avery lays down the bunt, and they throw him out. I thought maybe he'd take the pitch. They don't hold the runners at all. The runner at first was halfway to second base before the pitcher even threw the ball. But it goes for the sacrifice. Andy Barris hit a ground ball. Looked like the shortstop bobbled it, and he was going to be safe. But the second baseman picked it up and tagged the bag for the force at second. And that ended the first inning. Lynn sending 8 to the plate, scoring 3 runs. In for a strike. Off the catcher's glove. The runner moves over to third with 1 out. Barris looking for a base hit, but he'd like to put it in play. And again, I'm looking at the left fielder. I've never seen a left fielder play that shallow. Whether it's Little League Babe Ruth, high school, college, or pros, I've never seen a left fielder play that close. He's only about 10 steps out on the outfield grass. Swing and a miss. That gets a big strikeout for the second out. Two away. Gilly Galva struck out swinging his one trip. Wide for a ball. Doesn't even look like Beck is. Wow, he's just rearing back and throwing it. He's not really pitching. Hit foul to the backstop. Popped up. It's going to be on everybody's reach. It winds up going in the Andover dugout. Over the head, he ducked under that one. Just a little bit inside. Gets the inside for ball four. So first and third. It's going to bring a trip out to the mound. And again, conference with the defense, conference with the offense. Everybody getting together. And we're going to have a change on the mound, I believe. I say that, and I guess not. I thought they were going to make a change. Jaden Driscoll bounced to the pitcher, his one trip. And again, as soon as the pitcher went to the stretch, the runner at first took off. In for a strike. And the pitcher never even looked. They just let him go. Hit down the right side. Just foul. That would have been trouble. That's 2 runs if that stays fair. Right field was way off the line. Good curveball for strike 3. So Lynn threatens again. The hit and the walk, they leave 2 more. We've completed 4 here at Frazier Field. Again, that first inning, the difference, 3 unearned runs by Lynn. And that's it, 3-0 Lynn over Andover at the end of 4. 2, 3, and 4 for Andover as we start the 5th inning. Luke? Morgan Iziak has struck out swinging twice. Slices it foul off to the left side, up in the seats. That mist is getting a lot heavier now. It's been a miserable day, miserable night. Chop. They're not going to get him. That's going to be a base hit. Once they got by the pitcher, they had no chance. He gets an extra step being a left-hand hitter, but they weren't going to get him anyway. Morgan Beck, the pitcher, has walked and singled. Chopped it back. He looked to second base, didn't think he had a play. He'll get the play at first. It's not a sacrifice, but it works the same. He looked quickly. There was nobody at second base to throw to at the time, and the runner was fairly close to second base, so he wanted to make sure he got an out. So they get Beck for the first time. Phil Coyne has walked and was called on strikes. Out. I'm not sure why they're stealing third base down 3-0, but he got thrown out. Nice throw by the catcher, Lara. Nice tag by Lewis. Lewis has made a couple of nice plays at third base. That one hangs inside, pushes Phil Coyne off the plate. It's raining pretty good here. In first strike. Waves at that curveball. And waves at it again. So they get a base hit, but he only faces 3 hitters. And now he's got his strikeout total up to double digits. That's his 10th strikeout, averaging 2 an inning. So we'll move into the bottom half of the 5th inning. It'll be the top of the order for Lynn. And that mischarge keeps getting heavier. Tough for those players down the field. And got to make a play. The ball gets wet. Looks like Sean Estabrook is going to be the new pitcher. Gio Batista is going to be the new right fielder. I don't know if that means that Beck is out of the game. So Estabrook is the new pitcher. And the first hitter he faces will be the opposing pitcher, Louis Da Silva, who was popped to the pitcher and singled. Looked like they put the third baseman, Iziak, out in right field, and they put Beck at third base. So De Silva was the hitter that Estabrook will face. He waves at the first pitch. So Beck deserved a bit of fate. He goes 4 innings. He only gave up 3 hits. He walked 5. 2 of the 5 walks scored. All 3 runs are unearned. That one goes by. Everything goes to the backstop. Had big error in the first inning, a drop fly ball. Extended the inning instead of 3 outs. And Lynn scored 3. And that's been it. In for a strike. Hit way up in the air. The shortstop signals. And he makes the catch a couple of steps out in the outfield grounds. A little shaky, but he made it. So 1 up, 1 down in the 5th. Alex Lara started that 3-run uprising in the first inning. He drew a walk. Scored the first run. Last time up, he bounced out to the first baseman. Wide for a ball. One. We're going to get warm up in the Lynn bullpen. They have that pitch count. Pitching inside for a ball. You may be hearing the noise in the background. That's those illegal fireworks that are going off. That's ball forward. It goes to the backstop, and they better hurry. He takes a very wide turn. So Lara draws a walk. He's on for the second time. And Josh Doney grounded out third to first and walked. He walked and quickly got doubled off when the next hitter lined to the pitcher, and they got a double play. In for a strike. No sense even throwing it. The runner was at second base before the catcher caught the ball. In for a strike. Hit foul back to the screen. Hit here, long run for the left fielder. Bounces out of play. Nice job by the center fielder. That looked like it might fall in for a base hit. That was closer to the shortstop than the center fielder. But Arias came on and made a nice play for the second out. Hangs up and in for a ball. And that hits him in the back. Dario Benzin, the extra hitter, has walked and scored, struck out swinging. So an out, a walk, an out, a hit batsman. Again, Lynn with base runners. And that goes to the backstop. Second and third now with 2 outs. In for a strike. High and away for a ball. Got a piece of that, fouled it into the catcher's mitt. Waves at that pitch for strike 3. And he'll throw him out at first base. So once again, Lynn threatens, leaves people on base in scoring position. But they still have those 3 unearned runs in the bottom of the first, and that's the difference. 3-0 Lynn over Andover at the end of 5. Shad Newhall will be the new pitcher. So De Silva goes 5. Doesn't give up a run, only gave up 3 base hits. He walked 5, but he struck out 10. So Newhall will take over in the 6th to try and close it out. And his first hitter will be the opposing pitcher. Sean Estabrook was the starting right fielder. He's now the pitcher. In for a strike. And he threw that little off-speed curveball that didn't curve, hit Estabrook. Auspicious start for Newhall. Justin Molina has one of those 3 hits. He shingled in the second, grounded out third to first his last time up.
Now batting, number 3, Justin Molina.
Hit foul towards third base. Got a good pitch to run on. So they have a runner at second with nobody out. That one goes behind the hitter, goes to the backstop. They now have a runner at third with nobody out. Pitching down and away. Lynn players have to be alert. They keep moving them all over the place. They had it to shift on to the right side. While he was making the pitch, they had him shift to the other side. Now he lines up in the seats. Way high for ball 4. So a hit batsman and a walk allows Andover to bring the tying run to home plate. Phil McCoy, the catcher, sacrificed, struck out swinging. Let's see if he sacrifices again. He does. He gets it down. It's perfect. It's a hit and a run. Perfect suicide squeeze. The runner at third was coming. Andover gets on the board. Now they have the tying run on base. Cole Edwards has walked twice. Perfect bunt by McCoy. Up and away for a ball. In for a strike. Pitching wide for a ball. Off to catch it to the backstop. It bounced. Now the tying runs are in scoring position. Second and third with nobody out. So all of a sudden, Andover, who's been quiet through 5, helped out here by a hit batsman and a walk and a perfect bunt. Now a wild pitch. And that's ball 4. Now they have the go-ahead run on base. Luis Arias has struck out and walked. Elwell screaming out to his players. He wants the infield drawn in, not all the way in, but halfway in. So Andover all of a sudden has a life. Breaks down and away for a ball. A hit pass and a walk, a bunt single and a walk. Popped up. Nice try by the third baseman. Lewis with a diving try. He kept hooking away from him. If he caught it, they could have tagged up and scored because the pitcher, the catcher, and the third baseman were all going for the pop-up. Nobody was covering the plate. Again, they're shifting everybody. Outfield running all over the place. Long run. Off the center fielder's glove. They're going to get a force at third, so it won't be a base hit. That's an unusual force. A run scores on the play. The ball went off the center fielder's glove. They got the force at third. I'm not sure what they're doing. Are they putting the runner back at third base? So what they're doing is they're putting the runner back at third base. That's not a very good call by the umpire. That couldn't possibly be an infield fly. No infielder was in any position to make that play. It was in the outfield. Even though it's in the outfield, it could be an infield fly if the infielder is in position. But the infielder was in position. It was the center fielder who was looking to make the play. They're calling it an infield fly, and that benefits Andover. So it's going to be second and third with a run in. I have no idea what they're doing. Molina scored to make it 3-2. They're calling it an infield fly. The batter is out. They don't get the force at third. Lynn would rather have the ball dropped, and they're going to. I don't understand that. There was no infielder in position to make that play. The ball can be, it can be an infield fly even if it's in the outfield, but there was no infielder in position to make that play. So they scored a run on the play to make it 3-2. It greatly benefits Andover because it puts the runners at second and third. They moved up. They could have tagged the runner going to third. Lynn could have tagged the runner going to third base. And we're getting fired on with fireworks coming from behind. Those illegal fireworks. Will Entner, the first baseman, is the hitter. They bring the infield in. Hit foul to the backstop. They threw the ball to third. They didn't bother tagging the runner coming to third because they tagged the bag for a force out. He could have, the third baseman, Lewis, could have tagged the runner coming to third if they knew what the play was. That's not a good call by the umpire. Nobody was in position to make that play. It was the center fielder that was about to make the catch, and he dropped the ball. So there wasn't any infielder anywhere near the ball. So that's a big benefit for Andover because they have second and third now with one out. In for a strike. Boy, those are not fireworks. Those are cannon shots. Just got a piece, very late swing, and just got a piece and fouled it off. Entner struck out twice and bounced to the pitcher. Low for a ball. Nice stop by the catcher, Lara. Waves at that off-speed pitch for strike three. Two away. Luke Ogonisiak. Ogonisiak is the hitter. He has struck out twice. Last time he got a base hit. And it's not. Hit foul. I guess that wasn't strike three. Because Entner is still up. Boy, this has been a very confusing inning. Now it's strike three. Chase that high pitch. I didn't see him make contact at all, but I guess they call it a foul tip. that we thought was strike three. Now it's Luke Ogoniziak. And we're going to have a move to the mound. Leon Elwell makes his way out to the mound. We thought they'd make a pitching change, but they didn't. Newhall is still in. Hit foul, almost looked like a one-handed swing. A little off-speed curveball. He chased it. Hit to third. Nice pick at first base. Avery with a very nice pick at third base. Lewis threw the ball over there. It looked like it was going to be thrown away. Avery with a great pick at first base. That added a few gray hairs to the Lynn fans. So Andover gets a run in the top of the sixth in a very confusing inning. They get it with one base hit, and it was a bunt. There were two walks, and one of them scored. And there was a strikeout. So Lynn holds on to a skinnier lead now at 3-2. As we move into the bottom half of the sixth, it'll be 6, 7, 8. But that was really confusing, and I don't think the umpires, they benefited Andover, actually, because Andover was able to get a second run because of that call. There was no infielder in position to make the catch. The center fielder was coming. The center fielder dropped the ball. Then everybody took off. They threw the ball to third and got a force at third base, but they called the force off because they said it was an infield fly. And because the runners can move up on an infield fly that's dropped, they put the runners at second and third, and that allowed them to get the next run. And put them in a position to either tie it or take a lead because they had second and third. Actually had the bases loaded. Boy, those bombs are still going off. I can't believe, though. The city has had many, many meetings over the fireworks, making them illegal, telling people not to do them. With these bombs going off, I can't believe the police haven't come by yet. Those people are getting away with it because I think you can hear them easily, and they are bombs. And they're right behind the street that runs behind the third base dugout, actually, over in that area behind the third base dugout. So 3-2 here at Frazier Field. A little closer, a lot closer than Lynn fans would like it. Christian Figueroa, walk and a single in his 2 trips. Estabrook will start his second inning of work. He gave up a walk and a hit batsman the inning he came in, but he got out of it with a strikeout. Missing down away for a ball. Pitching inside for a ball, 2-0. That heavy mist has slowed down a little bit, but it's still flowing. Tough conditions. In for a strike, 2-1. If you're looking ahead to the 7th inning, Andover will have 3, 4, and 5 in the middle of their order. That one's over the head of Figueroa. Hit in the air to center field. Bobbled out there. He circled, went deep, came back, went to his left, went to his right. At the last minute, he dropped it. So Figueroa is on with the error. Figueroa hits the trifecta. He's on 3 times. A walk, a hit, and an error. And people just keep jumping up and down every time one of those bombs goes off. Richie Avery got the big hit in the game so far. He got a 2-out, 2 RBI single in the first inning to get those second and third runs in. And those 2 runs are the difference right now, leading 3-2. Last time up, he sacrificed. And I mentioned, I was surprised he sacrificed because the runner was virtually all the way to second base when he bunted the ball. The runner's got a good lead off first base. And they take off, they don't even throw it. They'd love to get this run in and give him a little bit of breathing room in the 7th inning. Off the catcher's glove. The wild pitch will move the runner to third. So now Avery just has to put the ball in play someplace. Figueroa's moved himself over to third on the error, the stolen base, and now the wild pitch. And the wild pitch is going to bring him home. So Figueroa manufactures a run. Error, stolen base, 2 wild pitches. High for a ball. And that's ball 4. Avery's on for the second time. Andy Barris, the left fielder. Bounced out, second base unassisted. Struck out swinging. And we're going to get a runner at first base. Gio Batista will run at first base. Up and away for a ball. Again, just walking off the base and not even looking at him. Down and away. They take off and they throw it away. And the runner's going to score. Fourth unearned run of the day for Lynn. So Lynn sees Andover get 2 in the top of the inning. Lynn comes back and gets those 2 runs back. And they got their 3-run cushion back as they lead it 5-2. And Parrish draws another walk. Healy Galver has struck out and walked. And we got the coach coming out. And we're going to get a change on the mound. Again, the runner takes off. Easy stolen base. The battery now is made up of the McCoy family. Yale McCoy is the new pitcher. Phil McCoy is the catcher. In for a strike, and this is just being lobbed up to home plate. Tries to bunt and fouls it off. Two runs in, a runner at second with nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. And that one bounces to home plate. It's been a bizarre night. Solidly hit the shot. Nice pick at first base. Etna with a nice pick at first base. Jaden Driscoll got the bunt down and they threw it away. He got a base hit. He took a very wide turn at second. Driscoll gets a base hit and RBI. Perfect bunt by Driscoll. Catcher had no chance. Runner coming from third. Lenny De Silva stayed in the game someplace. He's not the pitcher now. Newhall is the new pitcher, but they kept De Silva in the game someplace. A little chopper down the third base line. Base hit, he's safe. Alex Lara, the catcher, has walked twice and scored a run. The runner at first base is halfway to second. A line shot. He chopped at that one. It hung up. They're not even looking at the base runners. He's getting a lead off first base. He's almost to second base before the pitcher even throws the ball. Now the pitcher hasn't thrown the ball, and he's at second base. Still only one out. Andover got two in the top of this inning to close it within 3-2. They had a little momentum, but they've given it away here. High for a ball. Chop to third. They only have one play. They may not have that. They get him at first. He couldn't get out of his glove quick enough. He finally threw Lara out at first. He'll get an RBI. Two outs now. Josh Doney grounded to third, walked, flied to center field. So Lynn says to Andover, we saw you get two in the top of the inning. We'll raise you two. They got four. First time they scored since the first inning. A big error started this inning. In for a strike. High for a ball. In for a strike. Strike three called. So they send 7 hitters to the plate. 4 of them score. The error started the inning. 2 walks in the inning. Both of them scored. They double up after Andover got 2 in the top of the inning to close it within a run. They get 4. It's now 7-2 Lynn. And Andover's down to their last 3 outs as we go to the 7th inning. Morgan Beck, who was the starting pitcher, he pitched very well. He gave up 3 unearned runs in the first inning. He should have been involved in a 0-0 game when he left the game at the end of 5 innings. Hits it to the shortstop. Safe at first, he beat it. He's on base for the 3rd time. He got 2 hits and a walk. Sean Philcoin walked, struck out twice. 1 called, 1 strike, 1 swing. Matt Lewis is the new pitcher for Lynn. They tell me he's from St. Mary's. Chop to third, they got no play at all. So back-to-back hits to start the 7th inning. Sean Estabrook struck out swinging, called on strikes, got hit by a pitch and scored.
Sure. Great pitcher, right?
2 on, nobody out. The runner takes off for third. They don't even throw it. Third baseman was way in. I don't know if he thought Andover might bunt. In for a strike. Missing wide for a ball. Hit foul. Out of play. Off to the left side.
If you don't want to be heard, keep doing what you're doing. All of you.
Up and away for a ball.
Hello?
Strike 3, he knew it. He was walking away. He's not happy, but he was walking away. Justin Molina singled, grounded to third, walked and scored. So he's 1 for 2 with a run scored. Down and in for a ball. We were trying to finish it off for Lynn and give Lynn a sweep. The 13-year-olds won. 14's trying to follow suit. Hit foul, good thing. That would have been a base hit. Just kicked out as a couple of feet before the third base bag. That goes to the backstop. That's going to be a run. Beck comes in to score. Phil Coyne moves over to third. Seven to 3 now. Popped up. Center fielder makes the catch. He was so shallow they didn't bother to try and tag up. So Andover's down to their last out. Yale McCoy is the hitter. I'm not sure how Yale McCoy gets the hit for Phil McCoy, the catcher. He's up for the first time. Hit to right field. Starting back, coming on, making the play for the third out. And the 14s follow suit with the 13s and win their opening game of the Babe Ruth tournament by a score of 7-3. Lynn got out quickly. They got 3 unearned runs in the first inning. A drop fly ball kept the inning alive. A run scored on the error, and then a big 2-out hit by Avery made it 3-0.
Good job, man.
Andover got 2 in the 6th inning. A hit batsman, a walk, an RBI single by Phil McCoy. And then that wacky infield fly they call brought another run in to make it 3-2. But then Lynn said 7 to the plate. They got 2 base hits. They scored 4 runs. An error, a couple of walks, an RBI single by Jaden Driscoll. A wild pitch. Another error. They scored 4 to make it 7. Andover got a run in the 7th with a couple of base hits, a couple of stolen bases, and a wild pitch to make it 7-3, and that was the final score. So Lynn, the 14s, will go to 1-0. Andover will drop to 0-1. For Lynn, De Silva had 2 base hits. Lara had 2 walks. He had an RBI, scored a run. Doney was on base with a walk. Matt Lewis played very well at third base. He reached on an error, lined out to the pitcher, got hit by a pitch. He scored a run. He was on base twice. Jariel Benson drew a walk and scored a run. Figueroa had a nice night. He walked, singled, reached on an error, scored a run. Richie Avery got that big 2 RBI single in the first inning. He walked in the 6th, and Batista, running for him, scored a run. Andy Barris walked and scored a run. Jaden Driscoll had a base hit, knocked in a run and scored a run. And it was an all-around good team effort for Lynn as they got their feet wet in the 2021 Babe Ruth State Tournament. They go to 1-0. Andover drops to 0-1. The final score again, 7-3, Lynn over Andover. We hope you enjoyed it. I'm John Hoffman saying we'll see you next time.